My little cousin loves throwing firecrackers at my car. In less than 2 days, I had to patch my tires 4 times. My uncle and aunt smiled and said, "Why argue with a child?" So, I turned around and gave up my parking spot to a temporarily parked BMW. Doesn't my little cousin love blowing up cars? Then I'll let him blow it up to his heart's content. But I didn't expect the firecracker my cousin threw happened to ignite the BMW's fuel tank. With a loud bang, the 3 million yuan BMW blew up. I witnessed the whole thing from my balcony window. A small cluster of flames at the back of the BMW gradually grew into a massive fire. My palms were sweating, and I was about to go down to put out the fire. Fortunately, the property management arrived in time. After the fire was extinguished, the BMW was already burned beyond recognition. But my little cousin, the culprit, had run away the moment the fire started. I saw property management record video evidence, and they were verifying the vehicle's information. The burned BMW was parked in my spot, so they would probably come knocking on our door soon to ask questions. I looked back into the living room. My cousin's parents were scrolling through short videos and laughing out loud. Meanwhile, my parents were busy cooking in the kitchen. No one had noticed the accident. Just then, my cousin ran back inside. His little eyes darted around, scanning everyone. He probably knew he had caused trouble and didn't dare make a sound. He quietly walked to a corner of the living room, took out the firecrackers from his pocket, and threw them all into the trash can, trying to destroy the evidence. I waited for him to leave, then quickly wrapped the trash in heat-resistant material to eliminate any fire hazard. Afterward, my cousin sat on the sofa, quiet as a mouse. Seeing him like that, I felt both angry and amused. My crappy car wasn't worth much, so no one cared when he threw firecrackers at it. But the BMW he just blew up could cost my uncle and aunt their life savings to pay off. Children who aren't taught well by their parents will be taught a lesson by someone else. I had just bought a used Honda before the new year. My dad said we should set off firecrackers to celebrate the new car. It's a custom around here. When getting a new car, you lay a circle of firecrackers around it, and the crackling sounds symbolize a booming, prosperous future. But because this custom is too dangerous, it is no longer encouraged. At the time, my uncle and aunt's family was visiting. My cousin overheard this. From then on, he loved lighting firecrackers and throwing them at my car. If I caught him, he would just giggle and say, "I'm celebrating your car." My uncle and aunt strongly agreed. Our boy is so great. He even knows to help his cousin celebrate his new car. This kid has been smart since he was little. He still remembers. He's making a big deal out of nothing. This was shifting the blame, pointing the finger at my dad as the main culprit, and claiming my cousin was just being kind. I couldn't hold my cousin accountable, so I just considered myself unlucky. During the Mid-Autumn Festival period, I had to patch my tires 4 times. I also had to repaint the spots damaged by the firecrackers. Today, my uncle and aunt's family came to visit again. From a distance, I saw my cousin take out a few firecrackers to show off to me. I knew he was going to cause trouble again, so while they were heading upstairs, I quickly went to drive my car away. I planned to temporarily park it at the mall next door, even though I'd have to pay more for parking. It was better than letting that brat ruin it. Just as I started the car, a brand new BMW drove right past me. This was the BMW's second lap around. He seemed to be looking for a parking space, but all the ground level spots were full. I had a sudden idea. Although to me, there is a world of difference between a used Honda and a BMW. They were both white cars with 4 wheels. My little cousin probably couldn't tell the difference. He only recognized my parking space. Even if I could hide this time, there would be countless times in the future. I might as well teach him a harsh lesson this time. So, I immediately rolled down my window and called out to the BMW owner, "Bro, I'm heading out. You can park in my spot." The BMW owner happily accepted the parking space and parked securely. As I drove out of the residential compound, I secretly prayed that the BMW owner had bought car damage insurance. I had originally thought my cousin would at most blow out a tire or ruin the paint. I never expected such a serious accident to happen. I felt a bit nervous inside, but thinking it over, this accident could in no way be blamed on me. Only then did I relax. My parents had been busy all morning, making a huge table of food. My dad brought out a plate of steamed large yellow croaker, smiled, and said we could eat soon. After speaking, he went back to the kitchen to prepare a fruit platter. My uncle and aunt were locals. They knew the rules, but still started eating without any restraint. By the time my parents took off their aprons and came to the table, all the dishes had been completely picked through. My uncle and aunt simply didn't respect us at all. "Our boy loves eating meat. Come on, eat some more." My aunt picked up the entire fish and put it directly into my cousin's bowl. My cousin ate until his mouth was covered in grease, completely forgetting about the disaster he just caused. "I want to eat the big prawns. They're all mine." He grabbed another plate of big prawns and dumped them all into his bowl. My dad gave a helpless smile. "Oh, how can you eat that much? Your cousin loves eating them too. Leave some for him." Children say whatever they want. Our boy is the most sensible. He's just playing. A joke, right? Come on, smile for your cousin. My cousin pulled the corners of his eyes, making funny faces and sticking his tongue out at me. I clenched my fists under the table. My mom held my hand, shaking her head, signaling me to just tolerate it. My uncle and aunt had this child late in life and endlessly spoiled him, ruining him. He had been naughty since childhood, and if anyone criticized him, my aunt would turn hostile. She'd say all children are like that. When my cousin grew a little older and we visited their house, he would chase us with a bamboo stick, yelling while chasing us away. I thought to myself, How would a child have the concept of rich and poor? What exactly was my uncle whispering about us behind our backs? But every time I asked my dad, he just shook his head inside. And because my cousin wouldn't let us go to their house, my uncle and aunt's family came to our house for the Mid-Autumn Festival instead. Every year, my parents would carefully prepare a large feast to entertain them. Now, seeing the whole table of food ruined by my cousin, my patience was reaching its limit. But my parents were pushovers, always saying relatives should get along harmoniously. So, I had to just bear it. However, just as I was about to reach out with my chopsticks to get some food, the doorbell suddenly rang urgently. After I went to open the door, I found 3 property management staff members and 2 uniformed community security guards. 5 people imposingly blocked our front door. The slick, greasy-haired middle-aged man leading them was the property manager. Is the third parking space from the left, downstairs in Unit 1, yours? I see it's registered under your unit. Hearing the commotion, my parents walked over. My uncle and aunt, however, continued eating as if it had nothing to do with them. It is our parking space. What happened? My parents were shocked and quickly asked what the cause was. The property manager also seemed to have a headache over it, stating it might have been ignited by firecrackers. They had recorded a video of the vehicle burning and were currently checking the community surveillance to find the suspect. Hearing it was caused by firecrackers, my parents immediately looked at my cousin. This time, my uncle and aunt couldn't stay calm. They finally put down their chopsticks. My mom asked tentatively, "Nephew, you didn't set off firecrackers at your cousin's parking space, did you?" My aunt slammed the table heavily and immediately started lashing out. "Sister-in-law, don't you make false accusations. Our boy is the most well-behaved. He never causes trouble. You have no evidence at all. Yet you open your mouth to wrong us. Apologize to our boy right now." In stark contrast to my aunt's toughness, my cousin kept staring at the floor, not daring to utter a sound. My uncle came over with a fawning smile to smooth things over, telling my parents not to get angry first. After all, the surveillance results aren't out yet. We can't wrong a child. Moreover, our kid didn't bring any firecrackers today. Saying this, my uncle symbolically patted my cousin's pockets to show there was nothing inside. Seeing this, my dad could only chime in, saying my mom was just quick-tempered and asked them not to mind. This was supposed to be a polite remark, but my aunt, upon hearing it, arrogantly glared and yelled at my mom, "Did you hear that? Hurry up and apologize to our boy." Seeing this, I immediately went and brought over the trash bag. I took out the firecrackers and laid them on the floor. The firecrackers from little brother's pocket. I guess you are looking for these. Earlier, I saw him rush through the door in a panic and throw all the firecrackers from his pocket into the trash can. After I finished, I looked straight at my uncle and aunt. The smile on my uncle's face froze. My aunt's face turned pale. As for my cousin, he suddenly started screaming loudly, saying those weren't his. With that, he charged at me screaming and kicked my leg desperately. Seeing me getting beaten, my mom burned with anger. She had always had a weak personality, but at this moment she transformed into a super saiyan. She grabbed my cousin's arm and tossed him half a meter away. "Try hitting my son again." My cousin cried out loud, shouting, "It hurts, it hurts." My aunt's eyes turned bloodshot. With one step, she blocked in front of my cousin. "How dare you touch my baby? I'm going to sue you for child abuse." The atmosphere in the house instantly became extremely tense. The property manager intervened in time, quickly interjecting and asking us all to stop arguing, stating that the surveillance video had already been sent over. Afterwards, the property manager used his phone to download the surveillance footage. All of us crowded around to watch. This was the footage captured by the camera on the left side of the building unit. In the frame, a human figure clearly appeared. We held our breath and watched closely. We saw my little cousin sneaking behind the parking space. He looked left and right to ensure no one was around. Then, he stuffed several firecrackers under the rear of the car. He bent down, lit them, and then quickly ran away. After that, just as I had seen from the balcony window, the vehicle puffed out thick smoke with a bang, and then gradually caught fire. When my parents first heard the car burned, they didn't really feel the impact. Now, seeing the tragic state of the fire with their own eyes, they couldn't help breaking out in a cold sweat. At this moment, I wanted to see my uncle and aunt's reaction, but I saw that my aunt had backed out early and was now sitting on the sofa, patting my cousin's back to comfort him. She coaxed him, saying, "Don't cry, don't cry. They are all just scaring you. Our boy stayed right beside mommy the whole time and didn't go anywhere. If they wrong you again, mommy will hit them." Hearing this, I felt it was unbelievable. The evidence was irrefutable now. My aunt actually chose to deceive herself. How long was she going to let him commit crimes like this? When I witnessed the accident earlier, I broke out in a cold sweat. Now, I actually felt a bit fortunate. After all, I had no property loss, and this accident would completely expose my aunt and uncle's true colors. On the other side, my uncle nervously asked the property manager about the damage to surrounding cars. Upon hearing that only the car in our parking space was damaged, my uncle breathed a long sigh of relief, feeling a heavy burden lift. When my dad heard this, he anxiously wanted to go downstairs to check on our car. Unexpectedly, at this moment, my uncle grabbed my dad's arm and anxiously defended. "Let's get one thing straight first. Our boy didn't do it on purpose. He's just a child." My dad's eyes widened. He didn't expect that even at this time, my uncle was still trying to shirk responsibility. Out of consideration for family ties, he could only suggest calling the insurance company to assess the damage. But standing to the side, I wasn't going to pamper him. In front of the property management and security guards, I told my uncle with a rhythmic cadence, "Little brother throws firecrackers at my car every day. Just during the new year, I had to patch my tires 4 times. He specifically targets my parking spot. It was definitely intentional. This time it blew up in your face. Let's see how you clean up this mess." Hearing this, my uncle glared at me, pointing his index finger at my nose, loudly rebuking me for speaking disrespectfully to an elder. He also told my dad, "You guys better have car damage insurance. If not, consider yourselves unlucky." On my dad's side, he initially pulled me back, telling me to say less. But after hearing what my uncle said, even as an honest, easygoing man, he couldn't hold back his anger and put on a cold face. The property management and security were initially just doing their jobs, but seeing there was major drama, they stopped rushing and squeezed by the door to watch the show. My mom was the first to react. What do you mean? If the insurance company doesn't cover it, you won't pay for it either? At the mention of compensation, everyone present perked up their ears. My aunt, who was playing ostrich, also cast an eager glance. My uncle snorted coldly. The repair fee for your crappy car is enough to buy a new one. I'll compensate you 10,000 yuan at most. Any more is out of the question. Hearing this, my parents' faces looked awful. The expressions of the property management staff were even more fascinating. I saw them look at each other and whisper, noting that 10,000 yuan wasn't even enough to buy the car's logo. Today's trip was really worth it. At this time, my parents and my aunt and uncle, still in a confrontation, were completely oblivious. They were still discussing compensation. My dad said through gritted teeth that 10,000 yuan was too little and that our family should determine the compensation. After saying this, he told me to look up roughly how much it would cost. So I quickly took out my phone and checked the official price for a BMW. Then, making a rough estimate, I told them the repair would cost about 1 million yuan. As soon as I finished speaking, the scene instantly went dead silent. Everyone present was petrified. My aunt directly let out a sharp shriek, saying I was crazy for money. My uncle reached out to support her, shaking his head, looking at us with a trace of pity in his eyes. My parents looked bewildered, looking back and forth between me and my uncle. While my cousin didn't understand what 1 million yuan meant, he keenly sensed the shift in the situation, thinking his parents had the upper hand now. So, he excitedly jumped off the sofa, ran behind my uncle, and looked at me gloatingly. My uncle let out a chuckle from his nose. Bro, I know your family has financial difficulties, but you can't scam your own brother. No wonder my dear nephew knew his car would be blown up, yet still parked it there every day. So you were waiting for me here. After my uncle spoke, my aunt chimed in from the side, saying if they had known, they wouldn't have associated with poor relatives like us. I didn't expect that this was how my uncle's family truly saw us. These words touched my dad's sore spot. His legs trembled with anger, and veins bulged on his neck. Seeing this, my heart ached a bit for my dad. I suddenly remembered what he once said. Back then, my dad said my uncle's family got rich but forgot their roots. Originally, my grandfather worked at a chemical plant. When he retired, a position opened up. The factory originally wanted to hire my dad because he had a bachelor's degree, but my dad had found a job on his own, so he gave this position to my uncle, who only had a vocational school degree. Unexpectedly, my uncle was very lucky. Several leaders retired due to illness in succession, and my uncle quickly worked his way up to purchasing director. It was a lucrative position with a lot of perks. He could take kickbacks from suppliers and deduct bonuses from his subordinates. Before long, my uncle bought a car and bought a house in a good school district. Unfortunately, he and my aunt couldn't have a child for a long time. Our family was doing decently at first, but due to bad luck, my dad's company went bankrupt due to poor management. Because he was older, he couldn't find a job and could only take short-term gigs to make money. I had just graduated and didn't have much money, so I bought this used Honda to commute. My uncle often mocked my car as cheap. I got genuinely angry a few times, but my dad always urged me to maintain a good relationship with my uncle. Since he was a director now, if we ever had difficulties in the future, we might need his help. Small towns are just like that. Relatives and friends form a network of connections. We help each other out, sticking together to survive. But no matter how poor we were, we never thought about scamming his money. Yet my uncle's family kept their guard strictly up against us, acting as if we were leeches. Now, I never expected that my cousin blowing up a car with firecrackers would make our two families completely tear each other's faces off. I was the only one in the room acting completely nonchalant. I glanced at the official price again, repeating that my quote was not wrong. Hearing this, my uncle became so angry he laughed. He outright said I suffered from the poverty disease. How could a used Honda's damage be assessed at 1 million yuan? Hearing this, the property manager, who had been watching the show, suddenly jolted away. A Honda? When did I ever say the burned vehicle was a Honda? It's a BMW. These words were like a sudden thunderclap. My uncle and aunt instantly shut up. Everyone stopped arguing and scrambled to run downstairs. In my parking space, there indeed sat a charred BMW. The previously high and mighty uncle and aunt finally panicked. My uncle, completely flustered, asked my dad, stating, "Isn't this the parking space your family bought? How could someone else's car be parked here?" My dad was stunned and replied that he didn't know. He turned to me and asked where my car was parked. I pursed my lips and didn't answer. This really couldn't be blamed on me. I never said my car was parked in my parking space. It was the property management who checked and saw the space was registered to us and jumped to the conclusion that it was my car that got burned. Then, the BMW owner rushed over after hearing the news. When he saw the tragic state of his car, he flew into a rage, hurriedly asking who blew up his car. At that moment, he recognized me in the crowd at a glance and called out to me in confusion, "Aren't you the young man who gave me your parking space? Why are you here?" As the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. My uncle and aunt immediately realized I was the one behind this. Seeing this, I hurriedly slapped my forehead, pretending I suddenly remembered and explained, "I just drove to the mall to buy something and forgot to drive the car back." My aunt obviously didn't believe this excuse. "You went to buy things and forgot to bring the things back too?" I didn't bother explaining, just saying out loud it was an accident. But my face clearly said, I did it on purpose. At this time, after my parents understood the whole story, they were no longer tense. My mom even let out a laugh. After that, the BMW owner watched the surveillance video and the recording of the fire. Now the evidence was irrefutable. No matter how my uncle and aunt tried to argue, it was useless. My uncle, who struck heavy blows against us, became cowardly and submissive to the BMW owner. Speaking with a fawning tone, he said it was all a misunderstanding, wanting the BMW owner to go through insurance. But the BMW owner fixed his gaze on my cousin, reprimanding the two for how they educated their child, daring to commit arson at such a young age. What will he do when he grows up? This was the first time my cousin had been scolded since he was born. He was terrified, hugging my aunt's sleeve and trembling. My aunt protected her child. After hearing the BMW owner's words, she was somewhat dissatisfied. She hastily defended that the child was small and didn't do it on purpose. She even tried to shift the blame onto our family, saying that after all, the parking space was ours, so we should also take responsibility for what happened. In the past, my parents valued harmony above all else. They usually turned big problems into small ones, and small ones into nothing. But today's quarrel made them see my aunt's true colors, so they chose to watch with cold indifference, and I took the initiative to explain. Auntie, what are you saying? Why would I want to harm anyone? Although little cousin has blown up my car 7 or 8 times. From New Year's Eve to today, Uncle promised me he wouldn't do it again. I believed Uncle is a man of his word and would never lie to me, so me giving up the parking space was purely out of kindness. Before I could finish, my aunt hurried to shut me up. It wasn't 7 or 8 times. It was only a few times. Don't listen to this damn kid's nonsense. Our boy originally wanted to blow up his cousin's car. He didn't mean to blow up yours. The BMW owner's eyes widened in shock. Good grief. He's a repeat offender. That's it. None of you are leaving today. I'm not just calling the insurance company. I'm calling the police. The child might not face criminal charges, but since you two parents indulged him, I'm going to sue you for intentional damage to others' property. No, no, no. My uncle and aunt turned into loudspeakers, playing a duet of high and low pitches. My uncle and aunt smiled fawningly, continuously bowing and apologizing, begging the BMW owner not to call the police. My aunt even pulled my cousin's hand, urging him to apologize to the BMW owner. My cousin's face was flushed red. Suddenly, he threw off my aunt's hand. Like a little cannonball, he charged at the BMW owner, slamming hard into his side. With a violent shove from both hands, he pushed the BMW owner into a stumble. My cousin screamed loudly, "You wronged me. It was you." My mom said I didn't do it. Anyone who wrongs me gets beaten. He shrieked wildly, viciously kicking the BMW owner's legs. My aunt turned pale with fright, hastily picking up my cousin. At this moment, the BMW owner's elegant demeanor from when he first entered the community was completely gone. Not only were there bloody footprints on his suit pants, his hair was messy, and his face was pale with shock. He stepped back a few paces and angrily made a phone call. Seeing there was no room to maneuver, my aunt's lower lip trembled. She scolded my cousin, asking how he could hit people. However, hearing this, my cousin straightened his back, saying she had told him that anyone who wronged him should be hit. When this was said, everyone present looked at each other in dismay. It seemed my aunt's habit of shielding my cousin finally resulted in her eating her own bitter fruit, and my uncle, who normally cared deeply about his face, flushed red down to his neck in embarrassment upon hearing this. In contrast, my aunt, ignoring that their family had become a laughingstock, held my cousin and kept instructing him, telling him to apologize to the BMW owner. Hearing this, my cousin froze, staring blankly at my aunt. Then he broke free from my aunt's embrace, bent down, took off one shoe, and forcefully flung it right into my aunt's face. "You're a big bad guy too." My aunt was hit so hard she saw stars. Losing her balance for a moment, she fell to her knees. My cousin took off his other shoe and was about to go forward and hit her again. The scene instantly spiraled out of control. Everyone rushed over to pull my cousin away. My uncle slapped him hard across the face, then beat him while cursing him for being unfilial. My cousin's crying echoed throughout the entire neighborhood. Only when the BMW owner shouted loudly was this farce finally stopped. The car owner stated that the insurance company and the police would arrive shortly. When the time came, the insurance company would determine if it was intentional or an accident. Whoever needs to pay will pay, and whoever needs to be arrested will be arrested. My mom didn't understand car insurance and asked me how intentional versus accident affected compensation. I explained, if the insurance company deems it an accident, they will pay out the full amount. If it's deemed intentional, the payout from insurance will be very small. The car owner will need to negotiate compensation with the perpetrator. In severe cases, they might have to sue. My mom hummed in understanding after hearing this, saying since there was surveillance footage, it would probably be deemed intentional. Just as I was about to nod, I saw my uncle's ears twitch, and he turned to walk towards us. He pulled our family aside, cupped his hands in a pleading gesture, and forced a smile. "Brother, sister-in-law, let's discuss this together. Our two families are so close. Now that an outsider is involved, we should unite against the outsider, right?" Hearing my uncle's words, I felt a little guilty inside. After all, I was the one who first gave up the parking space and set a trap for the BMW owner. If I pushed my uncle and aunt too far, and they clung to this point, it might backfire on me. Seeing their family's current mental state, they were capable of doing anything. As I was weighing how to respond, it was my dad who took on the role of speaking sarcastically. "Who is we with you? Getting close to poor relatives like us will only get you scammed in the future." My uncle's face turned from red to white. Feigning composure, he said, "Oh, my wife was just saying whatever came to mind. I really didn't mean it that way. This is a special situation now. Nephew, just do me a favor and give me some face. Just say your little brother was careless. Everyone will be happy. Otherwise, we can't afford to pay, and we'll still have to borrow money from your family. It's not worth it, is it?" My mom rolled her eyes. "You can go ahead and try to borrow it. We never said we'd lend it to you." My parents, singing the same tune, choked my uncle's words in his throat. I felt a sense of profound respect. A cornered dog will jump a wall, and a desperate rabbit will bite. I hadn't expected my parents' attack power to be so high. My uncle stood there awkwardly in place. My aunt came to his side. At this point, she looked even more wretched than him. Her makeup was completely ruined. Changing her previously overbearing attitude, she gently chided my uncle, saying that when asking people for help, you should show some appreciation. Saying that, she took out her phone and opened her banking app. While checking her balance, she spoke nicely to me, wanting to give me 100,000 yuan to put in a good word for my cousin. Seeing this, I instantly understood. Seeing that the BMW owner was hard to talk to, they were trying to work on me. I glanced at the bank balance and laughed. "Auntie, you're not very careful with your math. There's only 50,000 yuan here. Even my crappy car's base price was more than 50,000. Shocked, My aunt turned to glare at my uncle. My uncle shrank his neck and muttered, "I spent a little yesterday entertaining Director Zhao. In the past, my aunt always mocked our family for being poor. Now that she couldn't take out the money, she couldn't step down from her high horse. She made a prompt decision, grabbed my uncle's arm and took off his big gold watch. It's not enough. We'll use this watch to make up the difference. This watch holds its value well." She tried to force these valuables on us, but my dad sternly refused. He stated that whatever they said was useless, and they should just wait for the insurance company's decision and follow the procedures. Hearing this, my uncle became anxious. He grabbed my dad, his knees hovering, looking like he was about to kneel down. My dad hurriedly held him up. Seeing this, my uncle continued to beg my dad in a muffled voice, "You are my own brother. Put your hand on your heart and tell me, have I ever begged you before? I'm just begging you to help me this one time." "How can your heart be so hard? When you begged me before, I agreed to everything." My dad took a deep breath. The look in his eyes towards my uncle surged with complex emotions. My uncle didn't know. My dad had already helped him countless times. In the few years my uncle had been purchasing Director, he took kickbacks from suppliers, while also deducting bonuses from workers, raking in a lot of illicit money. Whistleblower letters exposing him sprang up like bamboo shoots after a spring rain. Many top leaders in the factory were descendants of my grandfather's former colleagues. Because my dad was an excellent student with good character since childhood, my grandfather liked to take my dad along when visiting colleagues. My dad had some connections with them. They contacted my dad and told him about my uncle's situation. My dad then went around giving gifts, begging people to suppress the whistleblower letters. At that time, my dad had just lost his job and our family wasn't financially comfortable. He sold the calligraphy and paintings he had collected all his life to buy gifts and beg for help. That was the only way he secured my uncle's position. For this, countless arguments erupted in our house. My mom often questioned my dad, "Is your brother more important, or is this family more important?" My dad kept his head down, seemingly knowing he was in the wrong, only repeating over and over that he was his own brother. "If I don't help him, who will?" I had always hated my uncle, because I clearly remembered the one and only time my dad begged him, and how he rubbed my dad's dignity in the dirt. When I graduated with my master's, the job market was bad. My dad brought gifts to his door, begging my uncle to arrange for me to enter the factory. My uncle sat behind his desk and said with a troubled look, "The factory is indeed hiring, but the quota is limited. It's not that I don't want to help. It's just that my nephew's resume doesn't look too good. His master's degree university is just an ordinary Project 211 school. It's not a great school. It doesn't meet our hiring standards." My dad couldn't believe it. "Ziyuan, back then you only had a vocational degree, and I still got you in." My uncle sighed and said, "The past is the past. Now is now. I'll be honest. These days, college and graduate students are practically worthless. They're a dime a dozen. Don't underestimate our factory because we're not famous. Other people are fighting tooth and nail to get in. My nephew has no educational advantage, and secondly, he has no work experience. Why should I take him over someone else?" My dad understood the underlying meaning in my uncle's words, and said through gritted teeth, "Just say it straight. How much do I need to give you to help with this?" My uncle laughed heartily. "Bro, you're always so straightforward. I heard your family recently bought a new house in the city. You've been moving up quite fast. Show me around when you have time." My dad's eyes widened. That was the house prepared for my future marriage. My parents had spent half a lifetime of savings to pay the down payment. After coming home, my dad was silent for a long time. He was about to go buy good liquor to visit my uncle again. I couldn't stand it and persuaded him, "Don't go, I can find a job on my own." But my dad said it was fine. He comforted me, saying my uncle was joking and wouldn't really want our house. This incident made me swallow a breath of resentment, so I stayed up all night sending resumes and running to interviews. Eventually, in a city 100 kilometers away from home, I found a job. I bought this used Honda so that whenever my parents needed me, I could rush to their side in time. After so many years of forbearance and giving way, if my uncle had any conscience, he wouldn't have said such things today. At this point, on second thought, I came up with an idea. I pushed away the big gold watch my aunt handed me and said with a grinning smile, "Uncle, Auntie, why are you acting like outsiders? How could we not help our own relatives? We're not heartless people. I'll go talk it over with the BMW owner. I won't take money for this watch. I'll accept it. Just consider it the repair fee for my cousin blowing up my car." My aunt's eyes sparkled, and she repeatedly thanked me. My mom was very reluctant and was about to stop me, but my dad gently patted my shoulder. "It's fine. I trust Lily's judgment. Do whatever you want to do. If the sky falls, your dad will hold it up for you." I walked over to the BMW owner and spoke politely. I briefly expressed sympathy for the disaster he suffered, condemned my uncle and aunt's family, and then got straight to the point. I discussed in detail with him how he could legally and reasonably save trouble and obtain compensation from the insurance company. After discussing for a while, the BMW owner felt it was feasible, so we checked the details of his car damage insurance together. Fortunately, the car damage insurance he bought had maximum coverage. He could handle it exactly as I suggested. Now the BMW owner knew what to expect, and his attitude towards me softened. "Young man, I can tell you're a sensible person. Having relatives like this, it's not easy for you either." I nodded emphatically. Everything was understood without being said. The BMW owner continued, "The insurance company definitely won't want to pay in full. Normally I wouldn't haggle over this money, but that kid is just too annoying. I want to make them pay the price. Please cooperate with me. When the agent gets here, help me argue the case well. The more we can make them pay, the better." To this, of course I didn't refuse, readily agreeing. Soon after, the police car arrived. After clearly understanding the incident, they provided a police report. The insurance company arrived belatedly. Initially, the agent tried to dodge responsibility. The BMW owner and I presented the facts and reasoned with him. The agent agent finally surrendered. The compensation amount was finally settled. The BMW owner happily took a taxi and left. My uncle and aunt were also very happy, thinking the matter was over. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of their nightmare. The insurance company soon sued them to forcefully collect the debt. This time, no matter who they begged, it wouldn't work. Thinking about it carefully, my uncle and aunt actually had many chances to avoid this outcome, but they precisely dodged them all, continually jumping into the pit. Among them, my little cousin made a significant contribution, successfully turning his parents from millionaires into debtors. Just when I thought this was the end of the story for our two families, my uncle surprisingly showed up at our door holding the debt collection notice. Li Zhigao, your wonderful son really screwed me over. And you said you weren't heartless relatives. I see your whole family is a bunch of ungrateful wolves. At the time, I was playing video games in my room. My mom was scrolling through short videos. We rushed to the door, only to see my dad coldly confronting my uncle. My uncle threw the notice at my dad. How did your son promise us back then? He turned right around and helped an outsider bully us. Let me tell you, you better give me at least 500,000 yuan today. Otherwise, I'll go to your son's workplace and tell everyone he's the son of a deadbeat. Let's see which company dares to keep him. My mom trembled with fear. I held her hand and found her hands were icy cold. My uncle was extremely cunning. He knew how to hit a snake where it hurts, scaring people by poking their soft spots. And I was my parents' soft spot. My dad had been mild-mannered his whole life, but today, he did not back down. He put down his spatula and calmly told my uncle to wait. Then he went downstairs alone. When he returned, he was holding a bottle of aged Laojiao liquor in his arms. Holding the liquor, my dad's eyes were full of nostalgia. This is what our dad left us before he died. He said his biggest regret in life was not seeing us two brothers settle down and have complete families. On his deathbed, he left me this bottle of liquor, saying when we both had children, our two families should gather to open the bottle and celebrate. Your boy was born late, so I kept waiting for that day. But after your boy was born, I couldn't find this bottle of liquor to save my life. Just now, I went to the basement, and I saw this bottle at first glance. Maybe our dad also felt it was time. After saying this, in front of everyone, he smashed the liquor bottle to pieces. The liquor splashed all over him. He was so cold and ruthless, completely unlike the father I knew. Our brotherhood is like this liquor. From today onwards, all ties are severed. Li Ziyuan, go ahead and make a scene. From now on, we are strangers. I will never indulge you again. My uncle lost his composure, and a trace of panic flashed in his eyes, but it was quickly replaced by mockery. Who the hell do you think you are? The person I hate most in this world is you. You think everything was given to me by you, so I should feel indebted to you? Not at all. Those things were rightfully mine. You break ties with me today. There will be plenty of days for you to regret. With blazing anger in his eyes, my uncle stomped heavily downstairs. Before he came, my dad had been quiet and sullen for days. Getting angry today took too much energy. He collapsed weakly into a chair. Only now did I realize he had been thinking about the question my mom had asked. Is your brother more important, or is this family more important? He had made his choice, but making this choice was more difficult than I anticipated. It was also my first time realizing that my dad's tolerance towards my uncle wasn't just because he was honest, but out of a deep emotional bond. How should I put it? I am an only child, so I cannot understand that kind of emotion. Although my uncle cursed fiercely, he didn't actually go to my workplace because he couldn't even protect himself anymore. Countless whistleblower letters came to light, and my uncle became a target of public criticism. He was fired by the factory, and his whole family lost their source of income. To repay the insurance company's debt, they sold their car and their school district house. My little cousin was just at the age to enter primary school. Without the school district house, he lost the qualification to attend the key city primary school. He could only attend a private primary school with an average reputation. Surprisingly, the chemical plant hired my dad to be the purchasing director. My dad had rich management experience and a well-recognized good character. After taking office, he abolished the corrupt rules left by my uncle. Meanwhile, my uncle's family moved into my grandfather's old house in the village. They never came to our house for New Year's greetings again. I occasionally bumped into my little cousin. He had completely changed into a different person. Cowering, eyes darting away, not daring to speak to anyone. Later I heard he developed psychological issues. He couldn't get into high school and had to attend a vocational school. My dad once offered to help arrange an easy job for me at the factory, but I refused. I was determined to start fresh in a big city, because I had seen with my own eyes how the older generation pinned their hopes on connections, only to be dragged down by them. A small town wasn't my fallback plan, but a dead end. My own path can only be